here. So the coach just grabs her.
Picture this. The brightest star in women's basketball, Caitlin Clark, lights up the court, drains a deep three. The crowd's roaring, and right in the middle of her celebration, a coach physically grabs her arm and yanks her back.
Caitlin Clark is there hyping up the crowd. She's there trying to hype up the crowd. Exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. You want to see this version of Caitlin. You want to see...
Not in the heat of strategy. Not out of concern. Just stopping her from hyping up the fans. The clip goes viral in seconds. Outrage explodes online. Fans everywhere ask, why would a franchise desperate for attention try to dim the one player, making them relevant again?
Like this clip getting shown again, and it's just, in my opinion, is completely unacceptable. It is completely unacceptable.
But this wasn't just one awkward moment. It was the latest in a string of chilling signs that something's seriously wrong behind the scenes in Indiana. And what happens next might shock even the most loyal fans. The moment hit social media like a lightning bolt. 1 second, Caitlin Clark was doing exactly what made her the biggest draw in women's basketball.
So everybody online is talking about this play during one of the games where, as you're going to see, one of the coaches for the Indiana Fever just went and pretty much almost tackled Caitlin Clark for getting the crowd.
The next second, an assistant coach storms over, grabs her by the arm, and physically pulls her back toward the bench. No explanation, no strategy huddle, just a public, awkward display of control that left even Clark herself looking stunned. Within hours, the footage was everywhere. Trending hashtags, debate shows, fan forums. People weren't just upset, they were furious. Memes mocked the Indiana Fever's tone-deaf move. Commentators called it unacceptable.
Has this coach been reprimanded, suspended, fired? This is really terrible behavior. What is happening behind the scenes? If the WNBA wants to do an investigation, they might want to look into the Fever staff treatment of Caitlin Clark.
Some even wondered out loud, would any other franchise dare treat their star like this? But here's where it got even stranger. The team said almost nothing. No public apology, no explanation from the coach, not even a soft, "this was misunderstood" statement. Total silence. The league, quiet too. All while Clark's confused expression from that moment turned into the face of a larger debate. Why is this franchise treating its generational superstar like she's a problem that needs to be managed instead of the reason their arena is finally sold out? But that wasn't the whole story. This wasn't just one isolated misstep. It was the clearest sign yet of a deep, uncomfortable tension brewing behind closed doors. Ever since Caitlin Clark was drafted, her fiery, fearless style has clashed head-on with a franchise still clinging to an old-school mentality. Clark came in hot, embracing the spotlight, playing with swagger, pointing to the rafters, bringing energy the league desperately needed. But instead of celebrating that spark, Indiana seemed almost uncomfortable with it. Her teammates? Some avoid passing to her entirely, looking the other way when she's wide open. Coaches, managing her minutes like she's a raw rookie who needs to learn her place. And now this, a coach physically stopping her from engaging the fans who came to see her. This isn't mentorship. It's micromanagement disguised as leadership. The franchise that should be rolling out the red carpet for the player single-handedly, lifting them out of irrelevance, is acting like they need to keep her in check. And fans are noticing. Every awkward possession, every early substitution, every time Clark's hype is muted, it's all part of a pattern that's impossible to ignore. But what happened next made it even clearer. This wasn't just about coaching style or chemistry. It didn't stop with that viral grab. Watch closely, and you start to see a pattern that feels less like tough love and more like subtle sabotage. Every time Clark heats up, draining deep threes, energizing the crowd, she's suddenly pulled from the game. Critical moments where any other star would stay on the floor, she's sent to the bench. Her teammates? Sometimes they freeze her out entirely, passing up obvious opportunities just to avoid getting her the ball. And during another game, things reached a boiling point when Clark, frustrated after a no call by the refs, snapped back, only for a coach to physically restrain her mid-argument. Another awkward, very public moment that showed how much her own team seemed focused on controlling her, rather than letting her lead. It's not just structure, it's control. These aren't random coaching decisions. At least that's how it looks to fans. To them, this is a franchise uncomfortable with letting Caitlin Clark shine too bright, too fast. And the frustration is starting to show on Clark's face. The size, the tight jaw, the moments where she looks like she's asking herself, why am I even here if I can't be me? But while Indiana seems determined to clip her wings, here's the crazy part. Here's what makes this whole situation downright baffling. Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player, she's an economic engine. Since her arrival, she's transformed the Indiana Fever from a struggling franchise into a red-hot ticket. Sold-out arenas home and away. Merchandise flying off the shelves. TV ratings hitting numbers the league hasn't seen in decades. Before Clark, Indiana's franchise value hovered around $90 million. Now, it's reportedly skyrocketed to over $340 million, all in just a few months. Clark alone was responsible for over a quarter of all WNBA economic activity last season. And yet, her own organization seems intent on limiting her impact, icing her during key moments, benching her just when fans are hanging on her every move, and literally grabbing her when she dares to celebrate too much. It's the classic case of killing the golden goose. Except this goose is dropping record-breaking ticket sales, TV deals, and headlines every single week. For any sane franchise, this would be a dream scenario. Let your superstar cook, let her charisma fuel the league, and ride the wave of popularity. But instead, Indiana seems more concerned with dimming her spotlight than embracing it. And that raises an uncomfortable question that fans can't stop asking. This situation isn't just about basketball. It's about something deeper, and fans feel it. Caitlin Clark didn't just arrive as a phenomenal talent. She arrived as an unexpected face for the future of the WNBA. A white woman dominating a league that didn't necessarily have her demographic penciled in as its next superstar. Clark isn't leaning into identity politics. She's not asking to be the face. She's just hooping, filling arenas, thrilling fans, and pulling the league into mainstream conversation. But her rise disrupts long-held narratives. And to some parts of the old guard, that disruption seems uncomfortable. You can see it play out on the court. Teammates freezing her out, coaches restraining her celebration, and a pattern of decisions that seem aimed at humbling her rather than empowering her. It's not overt. It's not explicit. But it feels like an attempt to remind her, don't get too big, too fast. And while no one will say it out loud, fans aren't blind to the subtle tension. Every awkward substitution, every ignored pass, every awkward press conference feels like another brick in a wall being built around a player who was supposed to be the league's breakout star. It's this uncomfortable undercurrent that makes the viral moment with the assistant coach even more symbolic. It's not just about stopping Clark from celebrating. It's about a system struggling to adjust to a player who's changing everything fast. And the question now isn't just whether Clark can thrive under these conditions. It's whether she even wants to stay. Whispers are getting louder. Behind the scenes, rumors suggest that Caitlin Clark might already be thinking about her future and whether Indiana is truly the place for her. Trade talk is creeping into fan discussions. Sports pundits are speculating about locker room rifts, and even some veteran players have reportedly voiced concerns about the franchise's treatment of its star rookie. And why wouldn't Clark start weighing her options? Other teams are watching this unfold like hawks, clearing cap space, and dreaming of what it would mean to build around a once-in-a-generation player who already brings sellout crowds and national attention. It's not hard to imagine Clark packing her bags, moving to a franchise that understands exactly what they're getting. A fearless competitor who lifts the entire league's profile with every shot she takes. And what about Indiana? Fans are asking, has this franchise already written the playbook on how to lose a superstar in record time? The situation is becoming untenable, and insiders are starting to say the quiet part out loud. This is no longer about basketball development. This is about ego, culture clashes, and a franchise seemingly uncomfortable with the very spotlight Clark brought them. But even amid this storm of speculation, there's one undeniable fact. Even off the court, Caitlin Clark's rise hasn't been as smooth as fans might expect for a player driving record-breaking interest. When Nike finally announced her signature shoe deal, something that should have been a historic moment, the rollout felt surprisingly flat. Where was the fanfare? the slick ad campaigns, the hype video everyone expected. Instead, fans got a muted press release, delayed promotions, and lackluster designs. For a player who has single-handedly lifted ratings and packed arenas coast to coast, the entire launch felt like an afterthought. Industry insiders whispered that Nike itself seemed hesitant, caught between acknowledging Clark's outsized popularity and worrying about overcommitting too quickly. It's baffling when you think about it. Here's a generational player dominating headlines, yet her signature shoe campaign barely made a ripple. And it's not just about missed marketing opportunities. Fans saw this rollout as symbolic of a larger hesitation from both brands and institutions to fully embrace Clark as the face of the WNBA's future. Why hesitate to go all in on the player filling arenas and driving record viewership? Why tiptoe when fans are already sprinting to her bandwagon? That awkward, cautious rollout added fuel to a growing sense that Clark, despite delivering at every turn, still isn't being treated like the star she's clearly become. But the weirdness didn't stop there. You don't have to watch too many Indiana Fever games to notice a troubling trend. Caitlin Clark takes hit after hit, and somehow the whistles don't come. Shoved driving to the basket, elbowed on rebounds, knocked down off the ball, and yet the refs seem to let it slide. Again and again. Even players and commentators, who typically avoid controversy, are starting to speak up. If this level of physicality was directed at any other rookie star, or any established veteran, for that matter, the foul calls would come fast and furious. Instead, Clark is expected to toughen up and play through it, as if that's some badge of honor. Fans have noticed too. They're flooding social media with clips showing Clark on the receiving end of hard fouls that go completely uncalled. It's led many to ask a sharp, uncomfortable question. Why does it feel like Caitlin Clark has to earn calls she's already more than earned with her impact and performance? Is it rookie treatment? Resentment from officials over her spotlight? Or something deeper? A subtle resistance to letting her truly take over the league? Whatever the reason, every no-call adds to the perception that Clark isn't getting a fair shot, not just from her team, but from the league itself. But as rough as the officiating has been, it's what's happening inside the Fever locker room that really has fans talking. Behind the scenes, rumors swirl about growing tension inside the Fever locker room. This isn't just about coaching decisions anymore. It's about a cultural rift between Clark and some veteran teammates who seem uncomfortable with the spotlight she commands. From day one, Clark arrived as the most hyped player the WNBA has ever seen. Cameras following her every move, reporters hanging on every word, sellout crowds showing up just to watch her warm up. For some veterans who've spent years grinding without that kind of attention, it's understandable why that might create friction. But what should have been a healthy dynamic, teammates celebrating Clark's stardom while competing together, looks like something colder. Fans have noticed teammates avoiding eye contact on the bench, turning their backs when Clark tries to huddle them up, and skipping opportunities to get her the ball even when she's wide open. The tension is palpable, and it's reflected on the court in awkward possessions and flat chemistry. Instead of leaning into Clark's natural leadership and talent, it feels like some players are resisting, maybe consciously, maybe subconsciously, the idea that this rookie is the new face of the team. And that's what makes this story so much bigger than basketball. It's not just about one viral video or one heated exchange. It's about an organization that can't seem to get on the same page, even with the most exciting player they've ever had sitting right in front of them. And one strange moment during a game made all this painfully obvious. One clip that quickly went viral captured the entire dynamic perfectly, and fans can't stop talking about it. During a key possession, Clark bends down mid-play to tie her shoe. Why? Because she knew she wasn't going to get the ball back. Even though she was wide open, even though she's the team's best shooter by a mile, Clark's body language said it all. This ball isn't coming my way, so I might as well take my time. It was a subtle moment, easily missed if you weren't watching closely. But for fans who followed the Indiana Fever saga, it spoke volumes. The distrust, the frustration, the fractured chemistry, it was all visible in that single act. Commentators couldn't believe it either. Since when does a player tie her shoe during a live possession? And more importantly, since when does a star player feel so ignored by her teammates that she knows a pass isn't coming? That clip quickly became a meme, a punchline, and a symbol of everything that feels off about this team right now. And it was another brick in the wall of dysfunction that seems to be growing between Clark and the very organization that should be empowering her. But this isn't just about players and coaches. Clark's management team has quietly entered the picture too. Clark herself has stayed classy and professional in public, smiling through interviews, staying positive in press conferences, keeping the focus on the game. But behind the scenes, reports suggest that her management team is deeply frustrated. How could they not be? This is a player generating record-shattering ticket sales, viewership, and merchandise numbers, essentially reviving an entire franchise's relevance. And yet the Fever's front office seems oddly rigid and resistant. Instead of bending over backwards to ensure Clark is happy, supported, and thriving, they're doubling down on old-school hierarchies and treating her like any other rookie. Clark's agents are reportedly baffled at how many marketing and business opportunities are being left on the table. Partnerships that could benefit not just Clark, but the team and the league itself. Insiders say Clark's camp is already taking note. How long can you work for an organization that refuses to recognize your value? How long can you keep smiling while the people around you seem determined to shrink your impact? The answer may come sooner than the Fever think. At the heart of all this is a simple truth. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's a phenomenon. She's brought more eyes, more money, and more excitement to the WNBA in a few months than some franchises have seen in decades. She's packed arenas, boosted TV ratings, and turned casual fans into diehards. And yet, her own team seems determined to shrink her impact, to clip her wings, just as she's learning to fly at the pro level. This isn't about a rookie adjusting to the league. It's about a league, and one franchise in particular, failing to adjust to a rookie who's too big for their old rulebook. Fans see it. They see every icy stare, every ignored pass, every suspicious substitution. They've watched Clark's joy dim slightly with each game, her trademark grin flickering under the weight of pressure, politics, and frustration. And the sad irony, the very moment that made this franchise relevant again could also be the moment that starts her exit clock. Because here's the hard truth. Clark doesn't need Indiana, but Indiana, without her, would fade right back into the shadows of irrelevance, where she found them. If the Fever can't figure this out, if they can't get out of their own way and let their superstar be the reason fans care, then don't be surprised when she walks away and the entire league watches their golden goose take flight.